Shalom, shalom, shalom. Want to start off souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kal Kadash. Double honors to the Apostle, Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, of whom the world English calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. And the son's true name is Yahushua. And when we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, meaning in, Ha meaning the, and Sham meaning name. So Yahweh in the name of Yahushua. Real quick, yeah, I came across this one earlier on. One of the things that I was just thinking, just how backwards this world is, right? And I'm not gonna play it. Which call how YouTube does, but Laws will remember. I'll put a link in the description box so you can watch in your own leisure, right? But basically, this is a clip apparently from Abbott Elementary, and you have this character here who's basically saying, she had been dating her boyfriend since 8th grade. Not too sure how old that is. Hold on, 8th grade age. So 13 to 14 years old, right? And then the rest of the room is basically clowning her for basically only ever being with one man, right? But that is the natural order of things, right? And that's one of the things that Esau pushes. He pushes these doctrines that are upside down, right? So Isaiah 29:16 says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay, right? And our people have, drunk up this wine, right? And have have perpetuated these ideologies, right? Because you have, mums and aunties saying to their young daughters, oh, you can't just stick with you've only known him, you got to play the field, right? And this, that, and the other, right? Which is contrary to the law, right? Because in the kingdom, when a woman gets married, right, i.e., let's go into what that is, right? This is Exodus 22:16. Right, it says, and if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Right, so that is marriage according to the scriptures, right? Sex is marriage, right? Ain't no ceremony needed or whatever, what have you, right? No signing on the dotted line, etc., etc., etc. Right, sex is marriage, right? And that's it. That's the end of the story, right? But he basically promotes this culture of going out and just being a hoe, right? Which they look at the society that has has basically resulted from that, right? So he's just turned everything upside down. Right, this is Matthew 19 from verse 4. Right, it says, or start from 3, it says, the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every case? Right, it says, and he answered and said unto them, have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Right, so that's why we've all dealt with with women and that, and seen how over a period of time she starts taking on certain of your characteristics, right? She starts doing certain things that you do, right? Laughing how you laugh, even like typing how you type, right? Because she's taken on your spirit, right? And that is this idea of them basically becoming one flesh, right? So it goes on to, which then when someone else is going in, is going in unto her, right? That's why it's wickedness, right? It says, goes on to say, it says, wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High hath joined together, let no man put asunder, right? So, so that's the union, right? When you get with a woman, right, it's the Most High that has basically put that union together, which is why when you don't get a woman, right, it's also the Most High that has kept you from that union as well, right? It says Ecclesiastes 7 and 26, and far more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken away from her. Right, which is why one of the things we speak about as well is just this idea of, in the flesh you may desire a woman, Okay, but if the Most High ain't letting it run, it ain't running, right? And that's just it, right? And get the precept also in Sirach as well, right? Sirach 26:23 says, "A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord." And then same similar thing, right? In Sirach 25:19, "All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her." Right. So you once again, when it ain't particularly working with someone, right? When the law, when it feels like there's just a block, the Most High is protecting, man. Okay, which is why ultimately it's just, hey, move on to the next one. See what else the Lord has lined up for you. Okay, but going back to this, right? Matthew 19:6, right? Let's read that again. It says, "Wherefore there are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High hath joined together, let no man put asunder." Right. And when, like I said, you watch this clip, for yourselves, right? I don't think there's an auth wall or anything like that. I'm not logged in right now. But yeah, when you watch it, right, you know exactly what we're talking about. That thing of like, oh my God, you've only been with one guy. Like, oh my God, how do you know? Right? But it's like, not the Most High is the one that puts that thing together. Right? And ultimately, she's got no say in the matter either. Right? So it goes on to say, and you can read that, was that where is that? Is it Exodus or Numbers? Yeah, Numbers 30, the I'm shy. Right, so it says Numbers 30 from 3 says, "If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand." Right, but if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows or her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her because her father disallowed her. Right, and it says, goes on, same verses 6 and 7, exactly the same thing about the husband. Right, so basically showing you that even like speaking to the Lord, right, the man is always on top of the woman. Right, he's the one that ultimately makes the decision, says yay or nay. Right, she hasn't got a voice like that as Esau has perpetuated in this society. Right, says what, Jeremiah 31:22 says, "How long will thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man." Right, which is why everything is all out of whack. Right, it's one of the things. I mean, there's just a plethora, right, of reasons why this place is just topsy-turvy, upside down, right? And the fact that has put the woman above the man, right, to the point where she can just be like, "No, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go get another, ride on the cock carousel," right? That's why this place is just messed up. Right, so going back to Matthew 19:7 now, it says, "Then they say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? Right, he said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so." So this what you see here today, where everyone is just, getting together, they're not getting together. It wasn't designed to be that way, right? It was designed that one woman would get her husband, and then that was it. And that was it. Men that could afford it, had the resource to do so, would be able to afford more, right? Maybe able to get a second wife, third wife, whatever, right? But when you read our laws basically say, in fact, let's grab that, right, before we close it out. So yeah, ain't got too much time, got a dip, right? Let me see if it's see, Satan take not a second wife. In the suggestion, right? Where is it? Let me just look. So okay, JV. If he take another wife, it's Exodus 21:10. Right, it's Exodus 21:10. It says, "If you take him another wife," right, basically he's got he's got, more than one woman, right? It says her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So basically, would you call it? He was able to, basically, he was told that he has to take care of her, right? If he had more, and that's why, as the elders break down and stuff, like the apostles and elders break down. That's why it wasn't every man, right, that had multiple women, right? Because there was a duty associated with it. It wasn't, once again, it wasn't just like this world where it's just, everyone just beats, right? No, it ain't just about beating. There's a duty, right, associated, with, taking on a wife, right? So, and it goes on saying, if he do not these three unto her, then she shall go free without money, right? Which, we're going back to what we read in Matthew 19 and 8, right? It says, he saith unto Moses, because of the hardness of your heart suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And in the kingdom, right, it certainly won't be that way, right? The women that we, lay with in the kingdom, those are going to be our wives forever, for eternity. Right? It says, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her, which is putteth away, doth commit adultery. Okay, so yeah, as always, let's say just a quick one, right? And all of this, and then this is it. This is witchcraft, right? Because you'll have someone, who would have been watching this with their wife, that that she's the only man, what do you call it, that she's known. He's the only man that she's known, Slovakia, right? And then, and then the whole room's getting tense, right? Because in her mind, she's thinking, yeah, I've only been with this guy. Then they go into mocking the partner in this as well, right? There's all of the witchcraft that he pushes in this media, okay, right? Which is, one of the reasons. Once again, it's just one of the many reasons that this man's got to go, right? And while we look forward to the kingdom, in fact, we'll end on that, right? Because in the kingdom, none of this is going to be happening, man. Everything's going to be righteous, right? It's going to be all beautiful, right? 2 Peter 3:13. Nevertheless, we, according to His promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, right? So as always, Lord, what I was edifying. Till next time, we say shalom.